Hello and welcome to my final project blog. Um, let's get into it. So first we go to mind maps. I'm doing character design again, so I've basically done what I've done for every other project I've done, where I just map out all the different like pathways I could have went with, like superheroes and environment and war. But I have picked toxic masculinity for this project. So I've listed different like pointers to do with toxic masculinity, like stigmatism and like again political and aggression and lack of confidence. This idea, saying everything that's on the screen. Why did I pick this theme? Basically, um, since like not a young age, but like for like a while now, I've seen like stuff like this get worse, like toxic masculinity, and it can also be in like females too, like trying to be over feminine and not enjoying other people that are just trying to like be themselves. But for this is toxic masculinity, so I've seen a lot of like men around me like change over time because of this like view of having to be this like manly guy that can't do certain things that they might want to enjoy, but they can't because it's not counted as like a true man type thing. So it's kind of been a thing I've been thinking about for a while, and I've just been like, why not like do art that like represents that, and it also helps me like try and stay like motivated. So I've decided to pick this theme. I then go through research of character design, like the kind of pathways you can go into, and just what you need to do character design, how to stay safe, this, that, the other. Then I've talked about toxic masculinity, sorry, portrayed in media, so like movies and games. Just basically explain that there. So I go through different characters, like Jimmy from Mouthwashing, which is a game. I can't say that name, I'm so sorry, but a character from the show Squid Game, the narrator, and Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Even though they're not necessarily like the most like toxic, no, oh my gosh, I can't speak, toxic masculinity like vibes, I guess. Like the entire movie is against that kind of thing. Like it's basically trying to tell men that like you don't need women, which is like okay, but like you don't need women and you don't need like these kind of views. All you need is yourself, and that's it. Which isn't toxic masculinity. It's just basically saying like know your self worth. You don't need all these people and money and this that the other. Just do whatever you're doing. But on like the internet, all these men are like taking the movie completely out of like what it's meant to portray, and they're basically like, oh my god, Tyler Durden is like is the most manliest man. I love him. Like hate on women, hate on this, that, the other. Like, yes, when that's not the movie at all. And also, Tyler Durden has been seen multiple times in that movie, like wearing like not so masculine clothes, like not fishnets, like netted shirts and stuff. And like the way he acts and stuff isn't normally like seen as something very masculine. So it's a bit weird that they like portray Tyler Durden as like a god to them, like a sigma male, quote unquote. So that's a bit weird. So I've decided to add that men just take stuff out of line, just so they can be seen more masculine, I suppose. James Sunderland from Summit Hill 2, just another like somewhat toxic masculine man. And then we go on to John Walker from Thunderbolts, which is a new movie. So sadly, this character couldn't really influence me enough because it wasn't out yet when I was doing this project. But I've put him in now because it is like very like good for this project, even if I haven't fully been able to work around this character, because his entire like character development in both the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the new movie Thunderbolts is basically what I'm trying to portray in my project this time around, which is showing that like even though you were this person before, like you acted like horrible and like no one really liked you, you can turn your life around with like people who can help you and just like changing how you think and stuff. This is basically what this character goes through in both the show and the movie, because in the show he was like hated, but for a good reason. Like he was made to be hated. So like he isn't a toxic man per se, but like he struggles with like anger issues, and he also like he was, I don't know, I'm not gonna ramble about Marvel, but like he was meant to be the new Captain America, but he was like not, he didn't have the same morals as the past Captain America, so people hated him for that. So he was also struggling mentally with like being insecure about not being like the real Captain America. And then in the movie that came out recently, we found out that because of his anger issues and his problems with his insecurities, his wife and his child leaves him. And then like slowly we begin to see like a new side of him, like him being nicer to everyone and like him trying to help out. And like we feel kind of bad for him, and then he's like actually trying to like flip his life around because he joins the Thunderbolts. I'm not gonna explain all of that, but yeah, it just shows how like a very normal mental health thing what you can experience and like struggle with something like that, like anger issues or let's say toxic masculinity in my project. You can struggle with that, but that isn't like the end of the world. Like you're not gonna stay like that forever if you try and like get out of it. So yeah, I just really found that really interesting. I really wanted to put that in my project, even though I couldn't really use it for my project. That's why I wrote quite a lot about him. But then we go on to toxic masculinity in society. It's not really relevant right now, but the time I was writing this, it was all in the news, and it has been quite relevant for a while, like before that, so it's still relevant now, totally. Sorry, for so for the first person I've decided to do from like actual real life is Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, like it wasn't my childhood, but quite far back, he was very well known to like do podcasts and make videos about like what men should be, and most of like some of the points you could make was like okay, I guess. Like he was kind of telling men to do like their own thing and not stop for anyone, and also told people not to vape and this, that, the other. So like whatever. But then he made the most horrendous like kind of like pointers for men that then just like caused hellfire to happen. So he was basically telling men to like, oh, hit your women, like don't take anything from these women, like hit your women and make them cook and stuff while you do like the money making and this, that, the other, which is just crazy to just basically tell like so many like young boys who like find you influential, I think that's the word, to like disrespect like their moms and their future girlfriends and stuff just because they've watched this weird man tell them that on the internet. And why it was more relevant like a while ago is because a guy um killed, you can kind of read it there, I don't really want to say that out loud, but like he's basically like killed and done other stuff to his ex-girlfriend or girlfriend at the time, her mom and her sister. And he was planning it. He could have very well done that himself. Like in his brain, he planned it out himself. It wasn't necessarily Andrew Tate texting and telling him to do that. But then it all came out that he had watched, I think, Andrew Tate before he did all that. Like a few like hours before he watched Andrew Tate, and all that came out. And then Andrew Tate didn't reply back. Andrew Tate was like arrested, or like at least wasn't allowed to go to different countries for a while. So that already says enough about his character. But obviously, like, he's somewhat being given, like, something about this whole case because he was the one that made the videos and the podcast that this guy then watched and then killed and done stuff to these women. So that was a big thing. Andrew Tate is just, like, a horrible guy. So I knew I had to put him in here. Like, that was the first person I thought about, really. And then, obviously, we have Donald Trump. and there's not much to explain really, because I'm pretty sure we all know that he's quite, like, not a good person. But this, at the time when I made this, it was everything about him and the president of Ukraine, like, having, like, a one-sided argument where Donald Trump was, like, being, like, the meanest to him, when the, president of Ukraine was literally, like, experiencing, like, the worst thing ever, because obviously we all know what's happening with, like, Ukraine. And he was basically, like, being, like, yelled at like a baby when they're both two grown men that are presidents. So it was just, like, absolutely insane. And, like, the main reason I chose, like, this, because Donald Trump's done many other things as well, I chose this was because it shows that toxic masculinity isn't just, like, directed at women. Like, it's not just like, oh, women bad, women go into the kitchen, cook food, blah 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 blah. Like, it's also men against men, and also not just, like, gay men. It's, like, just other men that don't want to follow in the footsteps of, like, Andrew Tate, blah 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 blah. Like, they just want to be themselves. Like, these toxic men are like, no, like, I'm better than you, I'm bigger than you, like, I have more power than you, I have more money than you, like, ha ha ha. So, I thought that was also relevant to put in this, but it's Donald Trump. He already, like, understands the problems he has, but yeah, and that's it for that. So then I go into just the basic artist research. I've done Jack Kirby, I don't know how to say that, that artist, Jesus, I can't say the rest, and Evan, for my past, like, maybe 2 projects I've done. So there's nothing really much to say about them apart from the fact that I like how they draw and stuff. Some new ones is Eric, who did, like, the character designs for the game The Last of Us. It's way more, like, realistic than I'll be doing in this project, but I just decided to put it in here because I just really like the art, and just, it's not very colorful, which is also kind of the thing I do in my projects where I don't really use that much color. I've used, like, quite a lot of color for this one, not a lot, but, like, color for this one, so that's something. But mostly I am just, like, black and white. It uses a bit of brown, but, like, yeah, so I feel like this is quite good. And then it isn't very much a full-on, like, artist research, like, thing, but read a book, the name is, like, the comics and whatever, that had a lot of, like, illustrations and comics and stuff in there, just showcasing the artists. I came across this page called The Piper Man by Kate Brown. I tried to look her up, but I couldn't actually find anything, and I tried to use that what's it called, website that's, like, put in the page on its own, but like, it took me to a random place that wouldn't work. I didn't really want to get hacked, so take that as you will. But I found this, and it was, like, perfect, because for my project I want to, like, make this man not look like, I mean, normal, like, toxic men don't need to, like, look like this. They can look like just normal men, or, like, the stereotypical normal man just walking around in the street. They don't need to look absolutely hideous. But I want to make it, like, negative. I want to make people know that being a toxic man is negative. So taking pointers from this was, like, amazing. Like, how the guy is, like, hunched over, his weird posture. He has no shoes on, which is weird. I also took very, like, big inspiration from, like, the face. It's kind of, like, just, like, I don't know, it's scary. And also the hair's kind of receding and stuff. Like, it's just, like, you see that and you're like, ew. I mean, if people have that, then whatever, but, like, in art, it's normally shown as, like, a bit scary. So I've decided to take quite big inspiration from this, despite not really being able to look into the artist or the artwork more than just what's said here about the silhouettes being, like, victims to this guy. So, but this was, like, really cool to find when I needed it the most. Then we also have some videos for artist research. I'm not going to play them, obviously. I'm not going to play any videos that are on this blog, but they're basically just, like, they're animations, but they're not like really detailed, even though some of them are. um, they're just like quick sketches of like kind of mapping out an animation, which is like more relevant to what I'm gonna do like later on in this blog. I go into animation, so I wanted to like kind of put this in here just in case I did, and obviously I did. So yay! And then we go to exploring ideas. So I want to make two characters and also two dogs, but I did not put that in there. Like I kind of made it like last second for the animation, so whoopsie doo. But for my two characters, we obviously have the toxic male. They don't have a name, sadly. We have the toxic male, and we have just the female character. So the toxic male, I've decided, like I've done quite a few different like versions, and this is kind of like the character sheet. I wasn't going, and that's one of the dogs. I did put it in there, kind of ish. I'm not gonna do like a proper big character sheet that I've done like again like twice, 3 times in different projects because it takes a lot of time ish, and I was doing a whole animation for this project, so I was not about to take up more time producing something that doesn't need that much attention. So these are kind of like the character sheets that I've put in here. But I've given like shaggy hair. His face is normally like very like he has like these kind of eyes where it's just like I don't know, it's like kind of scary, but not scary, but scary. And it's very like monotone expression. He just wears like a black shirt and jeans. He has oh yeah, trigger warning for stuff. There's like some stuff in here that's like kind of like iffy. So if you don't like that, then like yeah. But like the character also like has like self-harm scars and like kind of bitten nails and this idea, as you can see on the screen. And yeah. But I went through different hairstyles. I kind of wanted him to have more like receding hair, kind of like taking more inspiration from the one artist I was just talking about. But I think the scraggly hair looks better. I don't want him to look like a monster, like the actual like piece we just talked about. I wanted him to look like he can look good. Maybe not now, but like later. So yeah, that's the male character. Then we have the female character. She's the absolute opposite of the male one, where the male one is like, oh my god, whoops. Oh wait, no, that's literally cut off. Sorry. You can see that the male is way more skinnier and longer, and it's like, kind of freaky. And then the girl is like chubbier and smilier. She smiles way more. She has a more cuter outfit. Whoops. Just real cute, real nice. The complete opposite of the male. And then we go into images. Basically, my whole thing for this project is that taking inspiration from like still images from like real life isn't the best for character design unless if you're full on making a character based off that picture. Like before, I've done animals and I've made animal humans, not like furry animals, like the group of furries. I'm not about to explain that. Yeah, I made like human animals based off the animal pictures I took. And I also did like a flower person in that same project, which wasn't inspiring at all. And I don't know, hate is kind of a hard word, a strong word, but I didn't like it. I didn't really enjoy it. So this one, I really did not feel like trying to find a picture of something that would then be based on that character completely, especially with toxic masculinity, because there's nothing really like visual in real life that you can draw from and make a character based on without it literally having to be based around like global warming or something. Because I took pictures for the toxic man. I took pictures of like pollution and stuff because I'm going off more vibes than I am like full on inspiration. So I just took pictures of stuff that is kind of like grimy and we don't like it because he's not meant to look relatively good. We don't like him either kind of thing before he turns into like a better person. So I went off vibes mostly, but if I was to like take foreign inspiration from these images, I would have had to make a swamp man, which I don't want to do because it's just the most uninspiring thing ever, and I might as well just like slap two eyes on this image and then call it a character. Like character design isn't like fine art where you can draw like a whole masterpiece, like either using like maybe rubbish and stuff or like just drawing the rubbish itself. It's not really like that. Normally character design is where you base something fully off like a story or a personality or like a fashion sense. Because I've been making characters for like years, obviously not professionally, but like things called OCs. I've been making them since I was like not able to draw, but when I had like full on internet access, so I was like, I want to make these characters. I want to like give them stories and stuff. And never once have I full on based a character solely because of an image. So I just struggle with that, and I moan about it like here and also in the evaluation. Cause yeah, but I get one off vibes. So for the girl, I chose like pink flowers, cause flowers is like a nice thing, I guess, like to look at and to see, and it smells nice and so the other. And I also chose, sorry, specifically the color pink because pink is feminine, it's innocent, and it's like sweet, which is like everything the girl is. So I decided to base the girl around like pink flowers, but it's vibes only. I'm not taking full on inspiration. There's no flowers on the girl, and there's no rubbish to do with the toxic man. Whoops. So keep that in mind, I suppose. Then we go to the photo shoot. I didn't. Okay, whoops. So these are the photo. This is the photo shoot I did with my friends. I basically told them to kind of act like my friend Zeph was meant to act like the my male character, and then my other friend was meant to act like the female character. So obviously we see here that it's just a lot of toxic stuff happening, and like her being more sad and like distant from the male character, and the male character not really knowing what to do per se. I didn't really use these images because I was too busy doing a whole animation, and it just was too much to think about. But these images are like cool and would have been way better if I actually used them. But it's fine. And I put a little sorry guys because crazy images. Then we go on to some of my ideas for the actual like final um product of this project. My first idea was to make a quick animation of like a verse of a song called The End, and I basically just planned out here like the different scenes and how they would look in my brain only really quickly. They're not like full on. And yeah, and I kind of wanted to do it digitally, but that was way too much of a hassle, and I kind of hate drawing digitally at this point in time. So I decided later on, because I did pick this idea, to do it in a 2D format and not a 4D one. I don't have anything visual for these ideas, but for my second idea, I wanted to do more of a which one is like a comic strip, or is this the other one? No, yeah, I know a cover. Ah, whoops. Make a cover of a comic with my characters. And then the third one is to make a comic strip of the characters, like acting, talking to each other and stuff. So I didn't use any of those two, so they weren't really big. My main idea was the first one, and I kind of was thinking about it the entire time I was doing this project. So because I've chose animation for my final piece, I decided to look more into like artists that do animation, and sadly I couldn't really find any animators that did what I'm doing with the 2D like format version of it. So I've opted to look into like stop motion because my animation thing is like stop motion, but all of these are like 3D. And then I look into like more 4D animators, so like on digital stuff they animate, apart from this person that actually did it with paper. It's still not what I'm doing, but like this was really cool to find. But it's just different animation, like people that animate, and I feel like it just makes sense for me to look into some kind of animators in this project, even if it's not the same ones I did. And then we go into the final project where basically I made all of the scenes. I sketched all the scenes out on paper first, which didn't really matter if it was like kind of scruffy and stuff, since I'm gonna like outline it later. Which I then outline it with like colored pencils this time, since one of my peers talked about how like most of my art is normally just in pencil or in like dark outline, like outliner in my digital pieces, and they kind of said like, hey, you should do more like colored work. So this one I've basically made it like 90% color to like try and like help that, I guess. I don't know. Um, so I've done all that, and I've produced all of the scenes 3 times, since I want to make it into an animation. Like I said, where one scene wouldn't really fit for a lot of them. So I done that. I did that. I mean, and then we go on to actually making it an animation. So first I put it into Ibis Paint, and I put the three pictures down into one, and then created one scene. I would then screen record it as it like plays for as long as I needed, and then I would stop and crop it a bit, and then do the next scene and the next scene and the next scene until I have all the scenes done. And then we go into um CapCut, where I put all of these scenes into one big line, and then put the audio into the app, and then timed every scene to the audio to make an animation. Wow, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So then I made a tester first of all, and I found out by one of my peers again that there was too many shadows, and also just me personally, like I don't mind like the shakiness of the actual like video, because like it gives it more like character, I guess. But it was just a bit too shaky in this. I needed to keep my hands more steady, and to also like crop the images better. So these were like things to keep in mind. So then I actually created my final piece where I kept all of these in mind. I made sure there was no shadows at all when I was taking the pictures, and then I cropped the images like basically perfectly, so then it was actually more centered in the middle, while also keeping that like kind of shaky, cool thing in the animation. Again, I'm not playing this, but like it is something you can watch. And my really long evaluation, I would probably pass out if I tried to read it all from memory. And yeah, this is my project. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.